サタンしろ
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 213 of the Saturn Studs podcast. We are here with the unlucky 213 edition. That's right, it's me, Kurt, with my co-hosts Peter and Jake.
We got it. A very special edition of this edition. Sponsored this week by the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Battle Royale. That's right. You get your tickets today, and you could be entered in a blood sport to determine who gets the biggest turkey in America. Coming to you on NBC.
It's exactly like the movie Battle Royale, except American school children, not Japanese school children. And we close off Central Park and give them weapons, and just we have some camera crew disguised in there, and we just let them have at it.
You know,
the anti-Hunger Games.
The current state of affairs right now, I could definitely see that happening. I mean,
we take all the people who are COVID positive. And just
well, I was talking about the riots that are just fucking going off everywhere.
I gotta speak about this will instantly date this show, but fucking the top headline right now is Killer Mike addresses the nation.
Yeah, saw that. He's like, I don't want to be here. You guys made me be here. I mean, CNN getting so much support by getting flashbanged. We're sorry you were arrested unfairly. Now let's break your shit. What? Writing. And of course, as always, this week, we're coming at you live from that very same building. That's how we know all the inside scoop. Chris Cuomo talking to his brother, being all friendly.
All these rioters are not helping to prevent the spread of COVID-19.
No, they're not.
I'm not seeing them. They're not social distancing. They do not have masks on. And you'd think, if you were rioting, you'd want to have a mask on just to protect your anonymity.
And from tear gas.
Yeah.
And whatever else you're
if ever there was a group of people that should be wearing their masks.
I am seeing.
And also, ironically, to prevent Hell Knights from sucking out your soul.
Yeah. Oh boy.
You know,
so
on Phobos, the moon of Phobos.
As promised, we watched Doom Annihilation this week, and shockingly, the reports were correct. This was the worst Doom.
I liked certain things from it. The fact that it dealt more with Mars or hell, something that seemed like hell.
Mm-hmm.
Did you like how the demon was able to impersonate the AI system with no explanation as to how that happened?
Understand that.
I don't get that. Was like so below the radar of awful that I didn't even care. I'm just like fucking whatever. They did a fucking
AI.
But they did a Space Odyssey reference, and I was like, no, you haven't earned that, kids.
Fucking discount Danny McBride got.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a lot to talk about this
wrong
movie.
With them.
Just a real low effort production from start to finish. Maybe not low effort. I feel like that's an insult to the people who are working I feel like that. So in general, this movie, I'll describe it as everyone who made it worked for a living. There were no stars in this.
It was a yeoman's movie.
You got a lot of Starbucks baristas, if you know what I mean.
This was a YouTube Red production that got a studio sponsorship.
Yeah, I'd see that. Yep.
Honestly, I've seen better YouTube Red productions. Well, let us not forget that Cobra Kai is a YouTube.
Oh shit, that's right.
That's true.
The Cobra Kai makes this look like child's play. It's really.
What does YouTube Red even do now?
Oh, there's no YouTube Red, I don't think, right?
It's YouTube Premium now.
But like paid content. Who does paid content on YouTube anymore?
They have shit.
I believe they removed that.
I just don't watch it. Do they?
I believe the plan is that they're removing the paywall. for
Just didn't
premium
work.
content. It just didn't work, but they still want to do it because I think it'll be good for sponsorships and stuff like that. So you might get it with ads, unless you have
Probably. with
YouTube
ads, yeah.
Premium, which gives you ad free.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's as much as it's a shitty thing to, there's no good way, no good clean way for YouTube to make that money. But like ad block is probably the best.
I mean, that's the main reason we have it, to be perfectly honest with you, because it's ad block on all your devices, including shit you can't install ad block on, like your TV, which is super nice. Also, they bake in YouTube Music with it, so you basically have like a Spotify premium equivalent to go with it. So it's not a bad deal for, what is it, $9 a month, something like that, or $6 if you split it with 3 friends.
So I think we can summarize this movie as we stopped talking about it after 2 minutes because there was just not that much interesting about it. But we will review it in full at the end of this show. First, we have a couple segments.
Yeah, I've got a lot of things I want to say about
We're
this
gonna
movie,
pick it
actually.
apart.
Most of them
Right after Trey watch.
not allowable on FCC regulated broadcasts. So we had trailer 1 re-release for Irresistible. It is the exact same trailer that we talked about many, many months ago. Democrats need to win in Wisconsin, which is now a swing state, so they get a former Marine to try to run for and win the mayoral campaign, and the Republicans show up to try to thwart them. Steve Carell, Rose Byrne, written and directed by Jon Stewart. Seems like it's going to be a fun political comedy. Not much else we have to say about it because there's nothing different from what we said.
Yeah, we talked about it.
And then we have Vienna and the Phantoms, which is a trailer notable to me only because the first 5 seconds of this trailer had a graphic that contained the words starring Dakota Fanning, which is something that, I was unaware that she was alive. I mean, certainly she should be. She's like our age, but...
I mean, if anything, you should be putting starring John Bernthal. He's gonna steal the show already. I mean, that guy's great.
Now, you may ask me, Kurt, what's this movie about? And I would tell you, I'm not 100% sure, but from what I can gather from the trailer, it's about a girl who's touring with a band and life on the road's owning her, getting into drugs and alcohol and shit like that.
Yeah.
So basically, it's Drugs Are Bad and okay, the movie.
Yeah, it seems like it goes into drugs. I think she has a romance with the lead singer guy, and I think he gets a little creepy and abusive, and maybe a little bit possessive. So we'll see a little bit of relationship issues with that. And then John Bernthal, I think, is the manager, and he's trying to keep this ragtag band afloat by getting them to travel late at night, travel all through the night, and try to hit up as many venues as possible. Meanwhile, they're just getting high on everything they could put in their mouth. And
But do they learn how to be a team?
I'm gonna have to side with the no. I don't think so. It's just all signs are pointing towards this is very toxic. I don't think it's gonna end well for anybody.
I think they pull it together at the end, though.
You know
I'm
what?
really betting that third act.
Maybe they do.
Get together.
They get to
sign
battle
a
the
record
band.
deal.
They get to battle
you're
the bands and they win.
So you're saying this is not an Avengers level threat?
No, not quite Avengers level. Maybe you send the Defenders in to deal with this, but not quite. You don't need to bother the Avengers.
Maybe the drugs that they're ingesting might be an Avengers level threat to their system, but
you can get the Fantastic Four to go on a fantastic voyage. How about that?
yeah.
Yeah. Or the Challengers of the Unknown.
That's the other company, but sure. It seems like this is right up their alley. For all we know, they could be in the crowd at one of these shows. They are unknown after all.
I love it when I look that up. They have no powers. They're just four people.
They
walk
challenge the
around.
unknown. Yeah.
Sometimes
Amazing.
being human is the best superpower. It's probably their tagline.
There you go. And sometimes you're Perry Mason, like Perry Mason in the HBO reboot of Perry Mason, starring a guy co-starring Jonathan Lithgow as older man.
What? Why?
And randomly I saw this tweeted out as an advertisement on Robert Downey Jr.'s Twitter. As far as I know, he has nothing to do with this series.
He's probably a friend with someone who's in it.
But I'll at least throw you guys the tweet here so you can see. It doesn't look bad, of course. It looks like HBO production levels.
This seems like something that HBO would do a decent job with. It is just an interesting choice to, throw back something from the fucking 50s.
Yeah. And it looks to be a little lighthearted. Hopefully some mystery.
Well,
Can
it's
only
Perry Mason, it should be.
Well, you never know. Star Trek was supposed to be a science fiction show, but then Picard happened. It became, who knows?
I mean, I think it's still technically science fiction. It's just bad science fiction.
Space adventure.
All right. Perry Mason.
I guess the last thing might be maybe just we talked a little bit about this on the side, but we got a teaser trailer for Zack Snyder's Snyder Cut Justice
That's
League.
what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we actually got
The Snyder Cut.
there's this teaser for it, and it I think had like a few deleted scenes or unfinished scenes that are just maybe in the early stages, just to wet our whistle. But I think what's more important in this is talking about what to expect in 2021. So HBO Max is going to be launched or include the Snyder Cut release for Justice League, and they're talking about having it be episodic. So the post-production budget and the rescoring of it has a budget of about $30 million, where they're going to take all of Snyder's footage that he shot before he left, and then some of Joss Whedon's stuff, and try to stitch it into a coherent show, episodic show.
Zack Snyder and coherency? That doesn't sound right.
I think that might be better, because you could be like, okay, well, this is the episode where it's just all about the battle between Darkseid and the Amazons, the flashback episode. Or,
yes, certainly, like 4 1-hour episodes is preferable to a 4-hour movie.
Yeah.
But at the same time.
Shoot.
And it's going to be weekly. They're going to launch it weekly, so you might want to wait like 6 weeks after HBO Max comes out to start if there's a free trial, start your free trial.
But Jake, don't you want to go on HBO Max to see hit shows like old Looney Tunes cartoons and Perry Mason?
There's too many. There's too many streaming services.
I mean, let's not forget about the Not Too Late show with Elmo.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, that's right.
That's an HBO exclusive, really?
That's HBO Max, yeah.
Oh.
What if it's secretly a hit?
I'm sure it'll be a hit.
It's Muppets. They're not. They're not slouches, except for
They're not
Oscar
grouches.
the Slouch.
He's a grouch. What?
No, it's his twin. It's his secret twin cousin, Oscar the Slouch.
Okay, so
basically,
yeah,
this is gonna be a bunch of like shit they swept off the cutting room floor, and I'm sure that like 80% of it should have stayed there. but hopefully it shuts up all the people pounding the table for release of the Snyder Cut.
Well, no, it's already invalidated for the really hardcore assholes who are going to yell and bitch about it because there's Joss Whedon stuff in there. So it's automatically not the perfect Snyder Cut. Even though I'm sure the Joss Whedon stuff was literally like things that Snyder did not have and were holes that were needed to be filled.
Yeah, like this is the whole thing that's always confused me about this was Justice League really so bad that everyone needs to see this other cut of it? Like, I thought Justice League was fine, and to be honest with you, probably better for the reworks that Joss Whedon did.
So I think everybody has this question that, like, you know, what would have happened if we kept it the same vision from Zack Snyder instead of a movie that felt tonally coming from two different directors? Because Snyder had definitely a darker approach, and Whedon had a more lighthearted approach to it, and you can see that from definitely the final stuff that he put together. So I think there's always going to be that question, that mystery that we don't know. You know, what if he finished it? Would it be better? Because I think fans were just unhappy with the final cut of Justice League. It's got middling reviews, especially for the amount of money that they poured into it. I think they're definitely trying to squeeze as much out of this as possible. And if they think that maybe getting streaming service subs out of it could help, then so be it. I think the important thing to touch on is that the possibility that this could bring in new life into the Justice League. Because originally this was supposed to be 3 movies. It was going to be Justice League 1, 2, and 3. And then they cut it down to 2 movies. And then after Justice League, it was just, we're done. They just stopped.
They tried with the DCEU. Like, it's basically dead at this point. I don't see the point, really.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Actors.
I don't think
Henry
so.
Cavill's out. Ben Affleck's out.
No, he's not. There's so the only one that is really out and who could still come back would be Affleck. And I think if this Justice League Snyder Cut breathes a new breath of life into it, we could see him come back if he sees that there's going to be room for improvement, and Snyder had a vision on where he wants to take it.
Okay, here's the latest. Henry Cavill may return as
Yes.
Superman, but as of now, he is not under contract to do any Superman movies.
No, but there's been talks of him because he is still connecting with Snyder and with Warner Brothers, and it's still in the talks, which I think is a good thing. We shouldn't discount that. I mean, if it does come out that he's completely out, then I do want to see Justice League DC die off. I mean, if they're gonna have to go through another round of like Batman and Superman of getting new actors, then I don't know if I want it.
Well, I don't know where the fucking this Robert Pattinson Batman movie is supposed to fit into the jigsaw puzzle, but like I think you're better off just doing standalone movies like Shazam.
I mean, Joker worked.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder Woman worked.
That was another...
Shazam, it's sort of as a series like Doom Patrol, because it had Cyborg in it, but he was just like
very different.
I'm a different cyborg.
Yeah, like it just they saw the money that Marvel was making, and they were like, we need to get on this action like yesterday, but they didn't take the time. Like, it was 4 years between Iron Man and Avengers. They tried to get this out in like 3, because let's see, Man of Steel came out in 2013, right? And then it was 2016 for Batman v Superman, and then boom, Justice League the next year.
Yeah. I think releasing individual movies also fits with sort of the DC, I want to say, ethos, style, the way their comics are there and their characters. You can tune me in on this, but I feel like the way DC's characters have been is you have the pillar of their characterization. They're very well characterized, and the details are you could just you can take them in any number of directions, and that's why a lot of the animated movies are just like, here's the story about Apocalypse War, here's the story about Flashpoint, here's the story about the Red Hood, and you just pull them in different ways. They don't have to connect to each other and form like one total narrative.
And it works better with DC. Like, it's easier to do a bunch of DC movies where they don't cross over than it is Marvel, because in the Marvel universe, all these superheroes are located in New York City, which somehow still has crime. I don't understand that one, but they're all in New York City. So it's really hard to like make a bunch of movies with Marvel superheroes and not have them cross over at any point. DC, they're more spread out. You have Superman, Metropolis, Batman's in Gotham City, Flash is in Central City, Green Lantern's in Coast City, Wonder Woman's wherever the fuck she is. There's a lot of
Does she just
different...
hang out in Themyscira? Or does she... she has a normal, like, civilian life.
She has...
Paris.
She has an alter ego. But yeah, so like there's all these different locations that these heroes are, like, they don't necessarily have to interact with each other. And I'm not saying that like there wouldn't be call for a Justice League movie, but you really, they didn't take the right approach. And as a consequence,
100% agree. Yeah, they should have taken their time. They saw the rush to compete with Avengers too much. I'm like, no, superhero movies aren't going anywhere. Just wait. Make your own thing.
They made a really weird decision, because at one point when all this shit was getting announced back in like 2011 or 2012, they're like, okay, we still have Chris Nolan under contract. We're going to give him the reins to our DC franchise, and he's going to be the visionary who brings us the Superman movie and the Justice League movie and all that. And I was like, cool. Chris Nolan did a great job with the Batman movies. Obviously, you're probably not going to get Christian Bale back because he's going to demand too much money. But that's cool. And then, like, somewhere, I don't know when it happened, but somewhere they're like, oh, by the way, Zack Snyder's going to direct Man of Steel. And then after Man of Steel came out and got really middling reviews, I don't remember it being very highly praised. Like, Zack Snyder is the visionary genius that we've entrusted this whole thing to now. And I'm like, what happened to Chris Nolan?
He wanted to make Tenet.
I guess.
He just started immediately.
I guess he
on
saw the writing on the wall there and was like, they're not doing this right. I'm out.
Yeah, I think he may have seen that they're trying to rush it too much, and there's not enough development. I mean, the reason why we love the Avengers so much is because they have several movies under their belt that they are developed characters, and like you saw Tony Stark go through this amazing character arc from Iron Man 1, where he was all about guns, and now he's about peace and, eventually self-sacrifice. He completed a 180 from Iron Man to Avengers Endgame. But then again, he had how many movies? 10?
Like, yeah, he was in a lot.
10 movies to develop that character of him?
Yeah.
And same for the other
Again, DC has they have a natural like playing field on this, because it took about 10 years for the MCU to be complete there, to build those characters. And Batman and Superman, who are, if they're heading up the Justice League here, they already have 10 plus, in recent movies, at least 10 years, if you're not counting the decades of characterization that they've had since their introduction in film media, that I just haven't seen with a lot of Marvel properties except for Spider-Man.
You touched on that, and like they feel the need always to have to reintroduce these characters every time they make one of these movies. Like, we know who the fuck Superman is. We know who Batman is. We know their origin stories. These are characters that have been around since the fucking 30s. We know their deal. Just make a movie with them.
How many times do we have to see Martha die and the pearls drop? I mean, it's Martha. Like Uncle Ben.
Why did you say that name?
Yeah, right?
You know what series,
that's on the Snyder Cut.
Really, you know what series does as well? James Bond.
Yeah, where they change actors.
He's there.
All the time.
They can just have different actors, different scenarios. You know who Bond is. You don't have to introduce him.
But like, it was then Batman versus Superman, right? They did the same fucking thing. Like, they didn't spend too much time on it, but they they had Batman there. I'm like, okay, we know he's Batman. Just get into the movie. But they had to do the flashback with the pearls and all that. I'm like,
Yeah.
I know it was only like a couple minutes, but that's a couple minutes you didn't need to have in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at some iconic scenes from movies, I mean, those are only a couple minutes each.
Yeah. It only takes a couple minutes to ruin a movie. It only takes a couple minutes to make a movie like fucking choice.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. See Doom Eternal.
Yeah, like
they
Doom
had a
Eternal.
bunch of a couple of
Annihilation.
minutes.
I need to issue
Doom
this correction.
Annihilation.
I called the video game Doom Annihilation a lot. That's Doom Eternal. This movie, Doom Annihilation.
Should not be conflated with one another.
No, one is quite good. The other is not.
Trash. So speaking of just killings, things getting killed. It's not what we were talking about at all, but I'm gonna force it.
Let's see where this goes.
We have coming to Amazon Prime in 2020, Murder Manual.
Murder Manual.
It is the I believe 8 or 10 part horror anthology show, just about the people dying, starring. So they've pushed starring Emilia Clarke. I think she's in probably one episode, but they put her front billed so that people will go and watch the show.
Yes, because Emilia Clarke really is gonna get me to.
They have it on the fucking trailer, starring Game of Thrones Emilia Clarke. So I'll read you the synopsis, and then we can. Creepy, terrifying chapters from our book of horror include a little girl's journey from the world of nightmares into the nightmare of reality, a gay couple's romantic getaway in Palm Springs that turns murderous, a young woman whose rideshare turns deadly, and a girl who's held captive by a circus that must be rescued by her husband. What an amazing fucking premise.
Yeah.
What fountain of creativity coming out of these writers?
I mean, I understand.
Featuring not one, not two, but 3, 4, 5, 6 directors.
Well, yeah, one per episode probably.
Oh, right.
But yeah, it's fucking. I understand they're probably trying to do more modern takes on some horror, with the ride share and all that.
What dates our society more than a ride share gone wrong?
Yeah. I'm just watching this trailer and it's just
I think they're trying to get on the Black Mirror kind of vibe of okay.
Even Black Mirror isn't on the Black Mirror vibe anymore.
That's because society, the world has turned into a Black Mirror. Our world has turned into a Black Mirror episode, and there's nothing is shocking anymore. Or people are stop, this happened last week.
Is this the news? No, this is a Black Mirror rerun. Okay. Yeah, certainly not something that I have any interest in.
Nope, but I thought I put it up because it was one of the only things that was new.
Yeah,
as a trailer.
We're scraping the bottom of the barrel here. This is going to be a perhaps pretty concise episode.
Which might be a good break. It's a beautiful almost the beginning of June here. It's a summer day.
And
so if you're watching this as a new episode, watch for an hour and then go outside and have fun in your backyard, away from other people. And if you're watching in winter, please tell me that the fucking disease is finished.
And if you're listening to this on the day of, go watch the SpaceX launch. That's happening at 3:22 Eastern Standard Time. So
you can listen to us as you're watching it.
Yeah.
But by the time you get to this part of the episode, it will have already it will already have launched.
Launch or get canceled again.
You'll be 7 minutes too late to view it.
But speaking of 7 minutes too late to watch something, we'll do that after. We'll do that after box office, I guess.
Okay.
All right, yeah. Follow up here. Here's this box office. You ready for this? From Memorial Day weekend, The Wretched, The Trip to Greece opening in second here.
The Trip. That's
yes.
the one we were talking about,
Yes. That when I looked it up, that's what it was, which is unfortunate because the Burnt Orange Heresy still only has like 7 reviews on IMDb. And I don't feel like The Trip to Greece is really the kind of movie that would produce much in the way of super entertaining user reviews, because it's just, it's a road trip movie.
It's like the people who watch this movie, I feel like they're all like my parents.
Yeah.
Like well-meaning, like older couples who want to go watch a reasonably funny and romantic independent comedy movie. It's not romantic at all, like as a romance, but it's a good like date night movie,
Right.
For a a couple who's interested in tasteful cinema.
I just wanted to see if our friend was there.
Our friend.
Oh yeah. Oh. They're probably gone forever.
There's a decent amount of reviews on this, not gonna lie.
Yeah, there are.
I'm
quite
sure
a few.
it's not a 4-part series for nothing. This isn't the third sequel for nothing.
We're not. I'm not saying that like it isn't going to have any reviews. I'm just saying that the content of the reviews is probably going to be a bit less off the fucking wall than what we're typically looking for. You can't release
the Snyder cut for a movie like this.
So usually they put it at like a 7 or an 8, right? Is that what it was?
Yeah, 6, 7, or 8. I thought it was on. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. It was on the Wretched, right? That we found it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This last one.
Okay.
We'll see.
They decided to skip The Trip to Greece because it wasn't.
All right. So I guess since we don't really have a whole lot of reviews we can pull from here, we'll just try to find our bot friend and see what movies he's been reviewing lately.
Yeah. This is. I am glad to know that this is out, so that I can tell my parents, go watch The Trip to Greece. They'll love it.
Oh, did they take his review down? I don't see it.
I think so.
The bot has been found after 4 or 5 years. Now, I'm not saying we had anything to do with it, but, I mean, they did take it down right after we started talking about it. So.
Pretty much 100% attributable to us.
Could the CEO of IMDb be listening to our podcast? I mean...
Possibly. Or someone who works in their moderation department.
I've never seen the CEO of IMDb and our podcast in the same room together, so... Could be.
Well, wouldn't that be an indication that he doesn't listen to it?
Oh my! All right, no. I'm sorry, guys. There are some good reviews in here. We should look at some of them.
Okay.
I've picked out some that I will disperse.
They seem really pretentious. I think that's the word I'm looking for.
Oh yeah, they're like snooty, sassy British boys. All right, maybe there's not too many, but there was a couple I just saw that was like really funny, just for being ridiculous. I'll put that one up. So, Kurt, this one's for you. It's ones that the best ones are short ones because the long ones are all very well thought out.
All right. Still great. The fact that they keep doing the same thing and it never loses its charm is a small kind of miracle. More, please.
Jake, this one's for you.
3 out of 10. Well. That title. Well. This is about 2 blokes who eat in Greece and compare silly voices. That's it. 2 men in different restaurants. Could have and should have been better.
All right, I got one. Hey, it's 5 out of 10. Hey, it's Dustin Hoffman's tooth. Rob Brydon was funny in this, especially his impersonations. The Grease setting was also very nice to see. Coogan wasn't the best. He's not likable at all. The show has run its course, but it's fun while it lasted.
He's not likable at all.
I don't like him. I don't care for him. This concept that's been played out. All right.
All right, I kind of want to find one more for each of you,
Yeah,
but
I'm looking here.
I got a 1 star. I can do a 1 star. I got one.
okay, because I got my second one. We just need to find a good one for Kurt.
I've found a screed here. You read it.
Oh wait, here. Okay, we can read it, but I also found this one for you, Kurt.
All right. Well, this is like a fucking. It's the Iliad here. So
Yeah.
I'll
Some of
spare
them are
us.
posting novels. The novelization of
If Paul's Quattro 06260 has a review titled First Class, it's 10 out of 10. If you've paid a tenner for this on Amazon and moaned or complained, you're an idiot. This is as good as any of the series previously. I'd pay just for the scenery and journey alone. Rob and Steve work amazingly well together. I thoroughly enjoyed binging this during COVID-19. 4 out of 9 people found this review helpful.
Did that mean he had COVID-19 while he was watching this?
No, I think this is just
like to think
this
so.
is the period of history that will be referred to as COVID-19.
The COVID-19.
Oh, Jake, I don't know. I'll give you this one, but you decide because you know which trashy ones are the best.
You do have an eye for trash.
I do. I'll do this one. Sure.
Okay.
3 out of 10. Save your time. Incredibly boring movie. They speak about nothing most of the time, and taking phone calls from family members during the film is hokey. The film does not really show much of Greece and is 2 hours of two 50-year men talking about gibberish, like watching Seinfeld, but without the humor. No, it's just watching Seinfeld.
Excuse you?
This one.
Oh, we're about to have a fight on live TV here. World Star.
Oh, I've got to know this is just like Seinfeld. Therefore, I will not be watching it.
Seinfeld. And last but not least, I have JS-66130. Amazing username. Review. 7 out of 10. In all caps, The Bickersons. As our traveling pair of pompously verbose sparring partners wind down a curvy road, Steve Coogan tries repeatedly to dislodge Rob Brydon's insistent refrain of "Grease is the word" to no avail. Brydon defiantly carries on, bludgeoning the show tune with lip-smacking enunciations to a bitter death. That the insufferable Coogan is at the receiving end makes the sour sweet. Ah, those Brits. With the fourth, is it the fourth? Who knows? Installment of the pair's chitty chatty travelogue series. You think I can't. Oh, all right. Sorry, I tripped over this fucking dialogue here. You think the premise would get old, but precisely during these travel-averse, barren restaurant pandemic times, it not only feels fresh and novel, but also romantically nostalgic.
Novel.
Of course,
like the virus.
Of course, the supposed premise of ingesting lavish scenery, serenading each other with historic tales, and devouring local cuisine is all fine and good. It is the witty back-and-forth bellicose banter between the two surly thespians, one-upping each other, that is the heart of these films. The digs are deep. The jabs are pointed. I think so. Forget the pen. The tongue is mightier than the sword.
Yeah.
They're self-skewering. This is the fourth paragraph.
I mean, these days,
They're
probably.
self-skewering. Of the classless upper class is priceless in a faux reality that questions the foe. In true stiff upper lip, chip chip cheerio, British bravado, there is a lurking charm and sentimentality beneath the sheen that only a true friendship could foster. A nice farewell, sardonic as it may be, and a fitting end to the series. Signed, Hip Crank.
Did he have a stroke when he wrote that?
Holy shit.
What was his username
I'm sorry.
again?
JS66130.
So nothing to do with hip crank.
No. I'm sorry if I could hold it together while reading this. I don't know if it was as funny listening to it as it was trying to read this shit.
Oh no, it's
But my God,
needlessly verbose. It's like this guy wanted to like make his opinion seem more thought reasoned by just including more words.
Oh my God.
Oh Jesus.
That was actually the most entertaining review I've read in a while.
I think so. I think that might be like just on content, the best one you've ever done.
Holy shit.
All right. Well, that opened with.
Let's talk about Parasite.
Sure, you guys talk about Parasite.
Oh yeah. But what were the stats?
That just made like $1,300, and everything else was down from there.
Sounds about right.
Living on a time of no movie theaters. All right.
Yep.
So yeah, we watched Parasite finally after shipping it over from Korea and having to put
had to clear customs.
Yeah, I had to sit for 2 weeks to make sure there was no COVID on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we took our sweet time. We really wanted to cleanse our palate of all the American bullshit that we've been watching and make sure that we're in it for the long run. And Parasite was a fine movie. I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with it. It was a little. I guess what was going to happen, like very early on. That usually doesn't happen. I like to just kind of watch the movie and let it happen. I'm like, I bet this is going to happen. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it kind of did. I'm like, it makes sense. It's what a parasite is. And
I liked watching the process, though. I mean, the first half of the movie, of course, was very fun. It kind of reminds me of a heist movie.
Yeah.
The premise is, it's not really a twist. The premise is this low-class family trying to scuff by on, scripts and scramps, find a bougie rich family in the nice part of town, and they slowly start to, get their hooks into them and basically scam them, making the rich family believe that every one of the poor family members is just coincidentally a different type of helper. Mm-hmm. So the son comes in as the English tutor, the daughter comes in as an art therapist, the wife comes in as a housekeeper, and the husband comes in as the driver. And so the family have no idea that they are all together, a family, and that none of them have any qualifications for any of this.
No, the main driving point as to how this worked was the wife of the family was very naive, didn't care really about she was like, oh, I trust your word more than I trust a document for she didn't even want to see the guy's diploma. She just wanted a good tutor. And I'm like, yeah, well, I mean, when money's involved, credentials are kind of important if you're going to be if you're going to be trusting somebody. There are a lot of bad people out there. And I mean, the same goes for an art therapist, more so for an art therapist. I mean, Jesus, in America, you have to have a certificate and get trained and get properly, especially when you're working with
But
kids.
She was from America.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought this was America.
It's great. It's a fun little takedown of rich people. Throughout the whole movie too, where she's like, my kid he's so tortured. He's so amazing. And the daughter, she just basically is like, you see that squiggle in the corner? That's the schizophrenia zone. That means your child had a traumatic experience as a kid. And I like that, where it's sort of, They weave the narrative. There's more narrative behind all of this. There's intrigue behind the surface plot, but they weave it throughout the movie. It's very nice like that. One of the scenes I liked is halfway through the movie. They're all ingrained in. The wife asks the housekeeper, the fake housekeeper, to make ramdon, which is you take a packet of ramen. You take a packet of udon and you cook them together, I guess. That's a Korean, shitty comfort food. And she's like, can you make it with sirloin steak?
Yeah. Benjamin Babish did a video on that. the Wagyu.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did I miss that?
I mean, it was basically just here's these two things of instant ramen.
Yeah.
Put them together and then drop some needlessly expensive beef.
But
on
then he makes it better by doing his own thing on it. That's the whole point of
which was
binging with
basically
bad.
just making his own noodles. I think
Yeah,
he
yeah,
still
amazing.
used the flavor packets for the ramen.
Sometimes simple is the best. But yeah, there's a lot of it. It's just I think it's a good movie. I just don't know how good of a movie it is, and it makes me question a little bit the awards that it got, because did they get the awards because the Oscars and Academy Awards or whoever who was it? The Academy Award. If they got it because, wow, this would look really good if we gave this to a little-known South Korean movie.
I don't think that was it.
Yeah. I mean, I
makes me
liked
question
it.
it.
I think it's very high quality for me in a sort of it reminds me of other cult classic Eastern Asian films that I've seen, such as like Old Boy, or some of my really good some of the really good animated stuff that I've seen. It's got those same kind of directorial beats in that style, and it I like the sort of the framing, the symbolism, the pace of the movie. It all really worked for me. But I understand, Jake, that you would have preferred that 1917 got it, the best picture this year.
I don't know. I don't want to make any predictions because I haven't seen them. And I'm a man of honor, so I would never give an award to anything that I haven't seen.
Of course not. No.
So I don't want to say, Ford v Ferrari would get this, and I don't know if I saw the other ones and they weren't super amazing and blow me away. I don't think I would have liked it. My guess is I would have probably given it to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because I really like Quentin Tarantino's style. But that might make me a little biased.
Well,
I could see 1917 getting it too, because I think it has a more dramatic and epic stage more, I guess. Joker, I think there's too much background stuff that brought it down. Like, Walking Phoenix was the great part of that movie, but everything else was like lackluster.
The movie wasn't great.
And that's why they have awards for best actor and
exactly.
best supporting actor.
I don't know. I have yet to view Parasite. That's why I've been silent for most of this. I'll get around to it. I have seen 1917. I didn't see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, so I don't particularly care for Tarantino's stuff, but he's won Academy Awards in the past. I don't know. I think it just it was the right field for Parasite to win. It was a pretty weak field. Particularly, I didn't think 1917 was anything particularly special. It was just the second or third best World War I movie in the past 3 years. Or Dunkirk was World War II, wasn't it? Whatever. It was it was like second or third best movie of its genre in the past couple of years. There were some cool shots in it, but I thought the substance of the movie was not anything particularly noteworthy. It was just a weak field of Best Picture candidates this year, and I think Parasite happened to be. It sounds like something. Like, there are certain beats that the Academy likes to see in their movies, and it certainly sounds like it's a movie that the Academy would like. So that's another important thing to remember with these. The Academy Awards is that there are these people who are members of the Academy of Arts and Science, and I don't know why it's arts and sciences, but it is. And they see the movies, and they all each have a vote for the categories, and they mail in their ballots, and then they tally the votes, and whoever has the most votes wins. So it's not necessarily what you or I like, and a lot of these pictures could have received votes. Like, I'm sure Joker got some votes, and 1917 got some votes, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood got some votes, but Parasite got more votes. And
That's usually how voting
that's
works.
just how it is.
Yeah. No, I know how the process works, but
Well, I was. We have other people
no, we don't. This is a
Potentially
conversation
would be
between just us.
potentially listening to this.
Wait, you mean the red circle button I press isn't just to start our conversation? I thought that's how I incentivize you guys to.
I like to imagine that where it's just
Start
like
our-
no one can talk. None of us can talk until we
Yeah,
hit the
we
red
sit
button.
here in silence until we press this red button.
It's true. We don't
why we
speak to each
ramble
other
so much.
before or after.
No, never. Yeah, it might have just been the hype. It might have just been the hype because this won so many awards. I mean, this won a fuck ton of awards. So I may have been going into this thinking it was going to be the end all be all of movies. And I think that may have tarnished my viewpoint of it. You know, expecting it to be like something that it wasn't going to be, and the fact that what it is was what it is. It's a good movie. I'm not saying it's a bad movie by any means. I mean, this definitely deserves to be a nominee. I can understand why people would want it to win. I definitely understand that point.
I will say it's definitely not the sort of grand piece of art that you typically imagine when you think of the classics.
No,
Yeah.
It's not a Metropolis. It's not a fucking Apocalypse Now. It's not a any of
Well,
those.
that's the thing with an annual award. Some years you just aren't going to have, like, not all Best Picture winners are created equal. You know, like, not every year you're going to have a Citizen Kane that you get the.
yeah, I mean,
Choose
this
from.
definitely had a message to put out there. It definitely had an idea that it wanted to convey, and I think it did it well.
And everything it did well, which is not nothing. When we look at the shit we look at, being able to do executing your movie competently is rarer than it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a lot about what I have to say about Parasite. If Kurt had, if Kurt gets around to watching it, maybe we'll go back and look at the plot a little more in depth because I don't want to spoil it. There's a lot of intrigue, twists, and
The
turns.
big twist did make me go, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, we could
that's a good one.
potentially look at it for next week. I've got no qualms with that.
If you haven't seen it, I would say see it. As Jake said, it's not gonna like fucking destroy your perception of reality and rework everything you thought about movies.
Yeah.
It's not even gonna be like it's not even a huge spectacle. It's almost like a sort of an enhanced play in a way.
And honestly, unfortunately, the biggest hurdle you have to get through is the subtitles. For people
Although the
watching.
actors do carry a lot of the dialogue on their face.
I mean, I was
fantastic.
thinking about this when I was watching it. I'm like, what if I watched it without the subtitles? Obviously, I would have little to know what was going on, but I think I would be entertained because they were very expressive. They were very expressive. They're very mobile, moving around, booping and bopping about, and I guess there are some scenes that would make me go, "Oh," because I would understand the story. Because sometimes you don't need dialogue to tell a story, and you can kind of piece things together. So,
Like I think about the sorry,
Oh,
I just got to throw this in. Like if you want an example, I think about the rich wife and just her constant confusion and worry and like what's going on attitude, where she's like, what?
oh yeah, she's like
from-
physically, she shows that she's worried and concerned, or like, or heartbroken
and simple.
because she's very expressive. She's when she gets concerned about her child, she'll back up and bury her face in her hands, and or she's embarrassed, she'll go, oh no, cover her face. So like there are some things that they could cross that language barrier very easily, which I think is definitely, it's not nothing to say about this movie, but
Certainly ain't.
if you're the type of person who gets tired reading something, or if you're in a tired mood, I know Kristen got a little tired when she was watching it and she fell asleep for a little bit of it, but other people, they like to watch what's going on, and having to stare at subtitles the entire time might get a little annoying after a while. So, but as long as you don't mind that, and I don't mind it, I think it's definitely worth a watch.
Yeah. All right. We got some gaming news here. Not a lot of gaming news. In fact, I will cut a couple stories because they are not really all that interesting, and I found other stories. Big news in our circle, at least this week, was the announcement. Actually, happened last Saturday after we went off the air. The announcement of Season 3 for Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. There are at least 3 new DLC characters coming in: the Purple Ranger from Jungle Fury, the Red Samurai Ranger, and a mystery character who is... Well, the trailer had like a female laugh. There were rumors that it was going to be Rita, movie Rita. If they do include Rita, I would rather it not be the movie skin. But I don't know. Just thinking about Rita's moveset, how it would be, I think it would be a little too similar to Zed. I mean, I guess you could do. I guess you could do like Finster, have like some sort of like with Finster and Squat and Babu maybe, and like involved in her super EX somehow. But I can't envision her moveset very easily.
Yeah. Not sure.
Okay. But also new Megazord coming in. They haven't. I think they said it was going to be the Samurai Megazord from Power Rangers Samurai, which is disappointing. A lot of people, myself including, would have liked the Thunder Megazord from Season 2 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which is also a samurai. So you could have had that.
But I know they want to keep it spread out and save it for another one.
Alas, so was not to be. Also, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl's source code has leaked online. This could be, or at least the 3DS version. Yeah, the 3DS version source code for Pokemon Diamond and Pearl has leaked online. This could be a major point in development for... well, it's not the DS source code, unfortunately. So I don't know how much of an impact this is going to have on DS ROM hacks, but perhaps we could see a higher uptick in more complex 3DS ROM hacking tools be released as a result of reverse engineering that can come from the source code here. But also, it's illegal to use the source code, so don't
do it.
All right. And to conclude the segment, I have yet another game review this week. Almost had 2. Didn't have the energy to finish The Witcher 3 after the stream last night. So that's going to be next week. But I did finish Uncharted 2, Among Thieves, developed by Naughty Dog, released, I think, 2011. Let me make sure that's right. But anyway, after my disappointment with the first Uncharted game, I was interested to see, because I had played a demo for Uncharted 2 when it came out. And I remember it being 2009. Oh, wow. I remember playing a demo for it and being like very like, yeah, this is a well put together game. And then when I played the first one, I was like, what the fuck is this? This is terrible. But Uncharted 2 improves upon its predecessor in nearly every conceivable way. The story's better. The graphics are much better. Like, for a 2009 PS3 game, these graphics are pretty fucking good. The gameplay is much better. The gunplay is tighter. But still, the core elements of the gameplay that I do not enjoy are there. It's still like wave after wave of enemies, and especially in the later levels where they have, special enemies, they just add too many rocket guys and too many snipers, and it like doesn't organically increase the difficulty level. It's not like we're challenging the skills you've accrued throughout your playthrough. It's like, here's all this bullshit sorted out. The story was quite good, though. I'll give it credit for that. But the core elements of the puzzle solving and platforming challenges are just really frustrating because it's very unclear a lot of the time on where you have to go, because there are certain like stage elements that tip you off to like, okay, I can climb on this and I can use this to get here, to do this, to pull whatever switch or lever or do that or whatever. But the way the graphic assets are, these stage elements don't always pop out from the background. So what ends up happening is you spend like 10 minutes, trying to climb on everything until you fucking stumble upon the thing that you were looking for. And it gets very frustrating. The last couple levels, I was really enjoying this game until we got to the last levels where they just tried to pour on the difficulty, and the chapters like quintupled in length. Like, I was playing through this. I played like 4 hours 2 weeks ago, and I went from chapter 4 to chapter 16. I was like, okay, I made really good progress there. That's nice. And then I played 2 hours. I went from chapter 16 to chapter 22. And I was like, okay, so I should be able to finish this game tonight. So I sit down to play it, starting from chapter 22. And like, chapter 22 was a 35-minute chapter.
Oh my God.
And then, chapter 23 was somehow even fucking longer. And it took me an extra 2 days to finish this game when I thought I'd be done with it. I wanted to have started my next game already, but after this, I just didn't have the energy. So, I mean, that's probably it for me with the Uncharted series. This game, it was a good game. And if someone who is more into platformers than I am play this, they would probably enjoy it quite a bit more. And I think it deserved a lot of the Game of the Year awards. It won like 40-something fucking Game of the Year awards, something ridiculous like that. But that being said, for me, as much as I like the stories of some of these games and as much as I've grown to like the characters, I will not be playing Uncharted 3, and I will probably not be playing Uncharted 4 when I get a PS5 or PS4, because it's just the core of what the gameplay is just isn't my cup of tea.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think after 2 games you can definitely, unless there's some erratic change, and I don't think there is.
Yeah, and everything I've read about Uncharted 3, because I was like, is it worth it to play this game? And everyone's like, yeah, it's not as good as Uncharted 2. And so if I've played the peak of the series, I feel like, I don't need to go any further. Yeah. I don't need to sink another like 10, 15 hours of my life into one of these games.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what a solid review.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
And I have another solid review. It's solid and bready and knotted like a fine piece of shit. And that piece of shit's name.
Okay, I was wondering where you're going with that one.
Doom Annihilation. I almost call it Doom.
I thought we were getting into food reviews, and we were gonna talk about some really bad breadsticks or something like that.
No, this was a solid.
I've never been disappointed by a breadstick. Can we take a quick segue into food reviews?
No, because I'm hungry.
I'm sorry, I had one interesting breadstick in the last month. It was called a moose stick, and it was sold by a local place by me called the Tipsy Moose. And it wasn't like a breadstick. It was like just a hard log of dough. I don't know. It was firmer than a breadstick, and they just industrially chopped it. So it had the feeling of I don't know, like a real stick. It looked like wood. It felt like wood. It tasted really good, and it got stale really fucking quick.
I don't know.
I was like, what a nifty
how
idea.
You can truthfully say you've never been disappointed by a breadstick when you attended Alfred University for 4 years.
Hold on.
I had low standards at Alfred. My standards were the black potatoes and the chicken that made me throw up on the floor.
Those cheese breadsticks were pretty bomb.
I disagree. I felt it was not the right ratio of bread cheese, and the cheese they used was not good.
Everybody wants more cheese, but for a college student,
not that cheese.
I was okay. I was happy with it.
I did not like it. I did not like their Italian cuisine. I did not trust the pizza-o-matic. I did not trust their breadsticks. I did not trust anything that came out of that kitchen.
I mean, the real purpose of the food hall there was as a barracks for the fucking football team, because they got the banquet table, they got the fucking feast tables every mealtime.
Yeah.
All they were missing were flagons of ale, but they replaced that with cups on cups of Powerade and chocolate milk.
Flagons of ale. You know what didn't have flagons of ale and should? Doom Annihilation.
Doom Eternal.
Doom
I damn it, I said now.
Annihilation.
That's the number one game right now.
Number one jumpy game. Doom Annihilation. Let's talk about it. It's the same plot. Let's just get the fucking plot out of the way. Hey, look, it's the same plot as Doom, the old one, but a little different.
So, like, they really did reboot the movie, because, like, right down to, like, some of the fucking throwaway characteristics of the squad mates, who were somehow less developed
Worse.
than the previous movie. Through some fucking feat of black magic, I cared less about the characters than I did in the last one.
They're definitely more character. I still remember the characters from the 2005 Doom more than I remember the characters that I just watched this movie, because they had a minute of screen time and then they were dead.
They all had like it was like communistically split up lines. Everyone had their select allotted amount of like rationed screen time.
Yeah, there was certainly more dialogue in this movie than there was in the previous one, but quantity did not equal quality here. In fact, I think it was largely worse dialogue.
Yeah. A lot of it was just boring and like mind melting, like where you just turn on a bad movie and you're like, all right, I'll just watch the movie for now. Oh, wow. Excuse me. And then something like that happens, like a line of dialogue or some shit, and I'll be like,
God.
oh no, this movie's bad. I will say, in the story's favor, they did acknowledge that they were, in fact, the Goon Squad. They did put that out there. I'm like, hey, they took my idea and they put it in. Too bad they didn't execute it very well.
Execute it at all, really. So this movie wanted to try to be like Alien, but it also wanted to try to be like a zombie movie. It was many things. A Doom movie, not one of them. They did, like Jake touched on earlier, they had some connection to hell and like Samaria, and they actually visit hell for a brief moment, and she gets out of hell just for the power of this is the convenient for the plot.
This is the portal.
Our main character, a soldier who wears a cross named Joan Dark. What I wonder what it could be referencing here.
Joan d'Arc.
Well,
Joan d'Arc
certainly did not pay her appropriate tribute, because fuck, goddamn, she's like the worst fucking character. Like, not only is she poorly characterized, but she's just the least believable action star ever. Like, my God, the editing in those sequences, and like, could you have afforded a costume that made her look less like a little kid trying to wear her dad's suit jacket?
Yeah, she looked like she would be very well cast as the competent supporting guard.
Yeah.
Of she looks like I don't know. Like I said, there's no pizzazz in this movie. This was everyone who made this movie, who was in this movie, works every day for a living. Like, I feel like this is the kind of movie where they don't go on a press junket. A couple of them went out to the bar after and got wings and a beer. And they went home to their family in a modest apartment and watched like Game of Thrones for a couple hours before going to bed. And that's the daily routine. No trainers, no juicers.
They also fucked up lines, and those lines made it into the movie because they called it UNC several times instead of UAC. and
Oh,
those
really?
lines stayed in.
Oh my god.
There was one scene I remember. So Joan Dark. I gotta say Joan Dark, not Joan Dark, but Joan has a love interest, or a love interest quotes. The dweebiest man to ever live, who doesn't know how to deliver his lines. He's like, whether it's dramatic or fearful or comedic, they're all the same. He's just sort of like, huh? Little snarky, but mostly the same. Anyways, she's like trying to tell him something, and the scene, it's about like, I don't know, I want to say 18 minutes before the end. It's like half an hour before the end there. And she's like looking around the elevator, and you can clearly see that she's looking and trying to find her line. Like she forgot her line, and she's like waiting to say it, and then she says it. And they kept that take. It was like something like I don't know. You guys, she was like, and that's why we need to go to the control room.
So I want to clear up any doubt, because I've had a little bit of a conspiracy theory about Rotten Tomatoes and their just scared shitlessness to harshly criticize any movie starring a woman or directed by a woman, and this was both. This has a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh my god.
Doom 2005 had a
5% too.
13%. Like 5-0, not 50, not 1-5. Like I would understand 1-5, but 5-0. An average rating of 5.3 out of 10.
I don't know, kids. I don't know how you get there. I don't like in any context how that gets to 50%. Yikes.
Half the critics gave it a favorable review. How is that even fucking possible?
When the entire cast of bad guys is about 5 extras from The Walking Dead that they just copied and pasted over and over again, they're like, they can't attack in groups of more than 6. We're just going to send them out, the zombies out one at a time to attack the people. And somehow that'll overwhelm the soldiers.
Because it was the same. There were the same 5 or 6 zombies.
That's what I'm saying.
The entire time. I was looking through like the IMDb, like did you know stuff, and one of the goofs was the zombies attack the Marines are obviously played by the same 5 or 6 actors who are just constantly reused over and over again. The zombies look exactly like each other, and they do.
Yeah,
until,
I mean, I guess I won't knock them for that necessarily. I'll knock the budget for being so low that they had to use 5 extras in a movie like this.
Well, they reuse different same scenes as like the fusion reactor room was the same floor as a botanical chamber. I mean, they reuse a lot of things.
A testament to frugality in cinema.
What was the budget for this thing? Like 2 pennies and a.
But then they put in the CGI.
Oh god, the CGI.
It's not even like the worst. It just doesn't mesh with the otherwise cheap tone of the live
action.
It's not
composited well. I'll tell you that right now. Like the lighting does not match.
That's very true
at all.
As soon as I saw the first shot of this movie is a bad shot. It's the meteor coming by on Phobos, not Phobos, not the moon of Phobos, but Phobos.
Phobos.
And that might have something to do with the fact that I think all these actors are British or Irish. I have that suspicion that none of these are Americans.
Whoa.
But I would have to have someone confirm that for me. I don't really care enough to look into it. But yeah, so the moon's called Phobos. And so the generic plot is dude makes a gate between the things, you know, like the Ark and Doom, the old Doom, but this one it makes demons pop out, pow, pow, pow. And they're ancient Mesopotamians
Sumerian.
Who apparently Sumeripotamians.
Well, I guess the story is that the demons of hell brought Earth its language and technology. And now they want it back for some reason. How they were forced to leave Earth in the first place, never explained. Doesn't make any sense.
That's
if they uplifted our society, how we were able to drive them out without any historical record of this. Just
what if they uplifted our society? Like, did you really? I mean, what would you give them? The ability to form mud huts?
Well, no. Apparently, they built the pyramids, Jake. all the unsolved, unexplained mysteries of ancient life. Demons.
Everything's just like them.
So
Demons.
yeah,
Demons.
basically the fucking scientist guy is the guy from Ancient Aliens. Just he's demons.
Demons.
Yeah, so the squad tries to fight the demons in the most ineffective way, not following any orders. First off, I love how he says keep in constant contact. I'm like, yes, that's how the guys in the first movie failed. And then no one talks on comms ever.
And no one
Well,
talks.
they don't talk on comms because the demons take over the AI that turns off their communication
But
devices.
before that, they didn't even do that. They don't talk about it until it's time for the demon to shut off communications.
This movie.
There's a lot of just bad, like, lack of training and otherwise what I would consider war crimes, such as when Joan steals her partner's sidearm out of his fucking belt.
Oh, what about
That'll get you court-martialed, kids.
after fucking they blew the chainsaw spot real early after she like fought off the zombies.
Yeah.
And then she finds the Australian guy and just like fucking whacks him in the face with the butt of her rifle because he insinuated he didn't want to be on her squad because she,
Yeah.
was demoted for insubordination and apparently released a terrorist. That they tried to give her some sort of backstory, but they never really developed it at all.
It's like she let a terrorist get away, and then they're like, "You're court-martialed."
12 rounds, 3 had better backstory.
That's what I was
for the main
saying.
character.
When I was watching this, I'm like,
Sorry, Jake.
Amy Manson is the lady who played Lieutenant Joan Dark, and also the one who tweeted, "Who needs a Doom guy anyway?" Because that's a way to win support.
I do.
But when fucking Jonathan Good, John Moxley, Dean Ambrose, whatever you want to call him, a guy who has literally zero acting experience, is better as a lead in an action movie than you are, you done fucked up, kids. And I understand this is trying to be more of a horror movie than an action movie, but it's not good at either.
No. The jump scares, again, this only reiterates my idea that jump scares are the cinematic equivalent of sack taps, where it just hurts. It's not fun. It just hurts. The people giving them thinks it's cool and funny, but it's not.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing I did like about this movie was the chaplain. And I think he was the best part of this movie. And I'm so mad that he died off so early.
Really? I literally do not remember anything he did. Please explain, Jake. I want to hear your thoughts on this.
I think he had the potential to be the more the most deep character out of all of them. Being a Marine as its background, and then just getting too old, too tired of all the killing, and then maybe he was too good at killing, and he's like, I need a more simple life, and then he decides to become a chaplain and become a man of God, and then that's where it brings the hell into this, and the fight versus good and evil, and then maybe just fucking maybe we can have him become the Doom guy because he's dying and he needs to survive.
The 24th chromosome.
So they they give him the 24th chromosome. We tie the two movies together. We have to fly him to Mars and put him in a sarcophagus to get the 24th chromosome, and he becomes a Doom guy. I thought that's who was going to be Doom guy, but it was the dumb bitch.
There was no Doom guy.
I didn't like that.
Like, she doesn't
Dumb
fucking
bitch
kill
was
any
Doom
of the
guy.
zombies in hell. She just runs away, and then she gets through the gate in Nevada, and she's like, you gotta close the gates. Like, no, we're waiting for the doctor. And they like trank her because they think she's crazy. And then they're like, okay, this could be the doctor now. And then like it cuts to the credits, and you hear the fucking demon snarling. And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
they went for the horror movie ending. I don't care
What?
about anyone.
Another one is
They're
not going to
dumb.
be made. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Fucking
I-
like God, like
This movie,
do better.
it didn't know what tone it was
No.
going to be. One of the things that really popped out to me was, so there's a scene in the middle where the doctor, who originally went into the gate right before this all started, he comes out of the shadows and he's like, there's more to this than you know. And this is right after it. So it's a big fight scene, and then it ends the scene with him coming out and saying, there's a secret. I have to sit you down and explain it. never mind the fact that the exposition in this was so fucking ham-fisted. Like they try to explain how long a day on Mars is, and it's like, it just doesn't matter.
Phobos runs on Martian time. A Martian day is called a sol. It's 23 and a half hours. I'm like, wow, way to really think outside the box on that one.
How many times, I'll diverge from my own tangent here. How many times did someone ask, like, what's up with that? And then another character explains it to them. Like, whatever minor concept. They just had, that's the only way they have of disseminating
What's a fusion reactor? Fusion reactor, isn't that dangerous? Never. Doesn't matter. Why include that line if that's not going to be a thing later on?
Well, the thing about it is like, oh yeah, nothing ever went wrong with nuclear power. It's like, it's fusion, you asshole, not fission. You're taking a hydrogen and a hydrogen, you're making a helium. You're not splitting the uranium into a bunch of different fucking parts that are highly volatile and unstable.
A lot of garbage.
Didn't you watch Spider-Man 2?
Anyway, so... No. So anyways, they come out with this reveal, and the tone of the next scene is fucking drunk captain on the ship, like trying to look at his porno mags and being like, Daisy, you want to fucking... Like, it's like a comedy scene where he's like trying to get Daisy to do something. He's like, oh, I'm out of booze, I gotta go back. And then he goes back into the hull for, the next half hour trying to fill his one flask.
Yeah,
tonal shit.
My flask is empty. I'm angry.
Call them discount Danny McBride, because like clearly they wanted to get Danny McBride for this, but Danny McBride was like, fuck no.
Yeah.
I was the pilot in Alien Covenant.
Yeah. They tried to copy Alien Covenant, which was itself a bad movie.
Did not work. Why would this work?
It's just, and like, how, like, I'll go back to this. I know I mentioned this earlier, but like, when he's trying to get Daisy to hail Mars, and he's like, prepare to take off, and like, I'm sorry, I can't let you do that. And like, my name's not Daisy, and like a demon attacks him. Like, how the fuck did the demon take over and impersonate the AI? That don't make any fucking sense. That was there to like be a scary scene, and it just didn't work because one, it wasn't scored properly to be a scary scene. Two, they didn't build any suspense. And three, and most importantly, I don't give a shit about any of these characters. You haven't given me any reason to give a shit about these characters.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad they're all dead.
Even Portman, who was a piece of shit in the first one, had a bombastic personality, and he died basically trying to save his squad or like warn Earth. You know, he had his moment. Mm-hmm. He was on there for a reason.
Here has their moment. They're all just like, let's check all the boxes on our diversity bingo card here. We got the butch lesbian one. We got the Asian girl. We got the Indian dude. We got the black dude.
Got the black guy.
You know, had the big heavy weapon again. I'm like, I guess that's a trope.
That makes the whirring sound. Did they just watch Final Fantasy and see Barrett and they're like, that's every black guy in a military movie now?
I mean, he would have been cooler if he had a gun for a hand like Barrett does.
I would have rather had Barrett in this
Barrett
movie.
would have been a fine Doom guy.
Just make a Final Fantasy movie.
I'm gonna kill some demons. Yes, I feel like this movie doesn't understand. Like, it doesn't understand the spirit behind a screaming guitar. It just sees metal and it's like, ew, I don't like that. I'm like,
guitar riff, it's like something off of like one of Van Halen's album, like earlier albums, where it was just like all melodic, and they like interject it so weirdly at the weirdest times. They just do music breaks, and the music sucks. They don't score the action scenes with cool music. It's just like mostly ambient noise. But like when they do a scene transition, cue the fucking electric guitar, man. And they didn't use any music from the games. They didn't use the original theme or any of the Mick Gordon themes or anything that even sounds like that. No rip and tear. No original Doom theme. Like, at least give us something, you know?
yeah. But Doom Annihilation didn't
Zero
give us
redeeming
anything.
qualities. Not even like worth it to see. Oh, like oh, this is a bad movie. Like this isn't one of those bad movies where we can come on and like, you know, have a lot of fun. It's not a Best Friends where we can be like, oh my god, is Tommy Wiseau going to dunk this basketball right now in his platform shoes? This is like, why am I watching this exactly? Whose idea was this? They should be excommunicated from our friend group. Yeah, I know. It was me. That's the joke.
This is what I think like a good 70% of stuff that comes onto Netflix every month looks like, and that's why that's why I usually don't pay any more than a passing glance at new Netflix releases, because it's just shit like this.
You want to know something funny here is this was released direct to video, where they expected people to like pay $10 to buy this movie, and then 6 months later it came onto Netflix.
Oh my god! Wow.
Universal. What were you
This
thinking,
was
my
released
lads?
last year, so this isn't like this is an older movie. This is like very recent.
That would explain why when the nerd tries to hack the reactor, he just uses his Samsung phone. I'm going to hook up my personal drive. That's literally an iPhone. You have the dongle attached to it, hooking into the fucking prop.
They didn't have money for props, so they're like, whatever you have on here. Like, I feel like this movie was made just so they didn't lose the rights to the Doom property. This feels like an Amazing Spider-Man situation where, like, we made this movie to hold on to these rights, and didn't put any effort into it. We'll maybe do something a little more spectacular with the property further down the line. But, like, I don't think making a Doom movie should be this hard. I really don't. You just have a bunch of demons, you have one angry dude, and you have him shoot things. You do cool kills and action set pieces, and then you slap a bow on it, and it's done.
Hey guys, you know what the best Doom movie is? There is a good Doom movie out. It's called Dread.
Yeah, you can do it like the Dread or Raid,
Right?
like that style movie, where it's just Doom
clearing
guy,
a dungeon.
a bunch of demons are locked in a room with Doom guy, and then we fucking rip and tear our way through the next 90 minutes.
And the beauty of it is you can have someone who isn't necessarily the best actor, who's good at fight choreography, because he's got to have a helmet on the whole time, and you can just ADR in a dude's voice.
You could just not have him talk at all.
Yeah, no, Doom guy never talks.
Doom guy doesn't need to talk. You can have scientists around him.
You can have a side character who's got to follow him. Like, he breaks out of his, we'll go with the news story where he's like woken up from a ritual and he's like bat out of hell here to kill demons. What you do is you have him be like the main element, but you have the story follow a character like a scientist or a guard, someone who's assigned on duty, who's like, he's broken out. You have to go find him. You got to follow him and make sure like he doesn't do whatever. He doesn't destroy the whole station or some shit.
Like the beginnings of these movies where it's the scientists on the UAC base, like that's fine for like exposition. You can have the demons break out and then you can have them like bandy about, be like, oh my God, we have to wake him up. It's like, no, it's too dangerous. We haven't tested the genetic modifications or whatever story you want to throw in there. Like, we don't know how stable he's going to be mentally. He could kill us all. It's like, well, if we don't wake him up, these demons are going to kill us all. And like, all right, fine. And they slap their multicolored key cards on the thing, and you wake up Doom Guy, and then Mick Gordon comes in, he starts playing Rip and Tear on his guitar, and then you shoot demons for 90 minutes. It's that fucking easy. I made this movie in 5 fucking minutes.
Yeah.
With a box of scraps.
Yeah, it's really not that hard. I mean, just follow the games. The games lay it out for you real easy. There's a story there too, I mean, they have characters too. And people would like to see Samuel Hayden and these characters. We don't need a character named John Cormack because he was the developer of the first Doom game. We don't need these fucking throwaway Easter egg names. We want a Doom movie, not we don't necessarily want like a tribute to the Doom game. We want a Doom movie. And every single time, these have felt like a, hey, you know that game we love? Here's a movie about it, and here's some throwaway
Sly
nods to the game. You know, there were names from like Wolfenstein and other shit from id Software, like BFG 9000. Make that a gun that's actually like important and not just a. Oh, hey, look, a gun.
Look, it's the BFG 9000. How does
Oh,
it
it's a
fire?
BFG.
Oh, it's just like
Also-
a regular gun, I understand. Oh, well, that's convenient
Let's
for the
take
plot. Why'd you even put
5
that dialogue in there?
Let's take 5 minutes to explain how it works, because that matters. It takes 10 seconds to charge, and then
And she fires
and
it.
you can shoot it
times.
multiple times.
Well, that's more than
it
The
just,
Rock
Oh, it
did,
just
so.
charges the one time.
It's true.
Like
It's actually
normal
true.
BFG only has one charge in it, and then you have to reload it.
Yeah.
And then it is a big AOE attack. This was like a fucking pew.
Same thing
It was
with
like
the
a
last
medium
movie, too.
fucking gun.
Yeah, it's just like
It was like a medium fucking gun. It wasn't.
it wasn't even that big. Well, I guess they had to scale down the prop because I mean the woman. Let's just face it, she's not very large. So if they couldn't like give the same prop they gave to the Rock, that would be the size that she is.
Rock would be one handing it. Just a big, oh.
Like, I want this thing to be a long. Like, the BFG needs to be the size of a long keg.
It needs to be at least
Yeah, that's what it was in the game.
at least 1.5 times the size of the torso of whoever wielding it. Like,
In the game, they hold it like a minigun.
yeah,
Like it's you
yeah.
hold it by your side because you can't shoulder that
you
shit.
can't aim down your sight with the BFG. You just fucking fire it and everything dies.
Yeah, you don't need to because it's just AOE. It just will demolish everything.
I also hate how she fucking both times they needed to fucking point it out because the audience would apparently not get it that the BFG stood for big fucking gun. I just fucking I started making mooing sounds when she said that in this movie. I'm like, dude, you got it,
You know what the
guys.
Marines call it? The big fucking gun.
Well, in 2005 Doom, it was technically the Bioforce gun.
That's some Disney ass shit.
Yeah, that's
But then
a big
Rock
fucking
says,
gun.
"Big
Yeah,
fucking
they save
gun."
it. The Rock saved it. He didn't save that movie, but he saved that particular line. And then he would later ruin it by going, I got one round.
I'm not supposed to die.
Semper Fi, motherfucker.
See, that movie had cheesy, quotable lines that we are going to say for a while
Like,
now.
honestly,
this
after
one had
watching this movie,
nothing.
I might actually love 2005 Doom. Like, just by comparison, it is
It's-
far and away the best Doom
It
movie.
has its charms
Like,
now.
I was like, wow, this is terrible. How could anything be worse? And then I saw what's worse, and I'm like, you know what? Given what it could have been, given the fact that it could have been this, maybe it's not so bad.
And that's the moral of the story here.
It could always be worse. That's the moral of the story. It could always be worse.
Could always be worse.
All right. Well, I'm done talking about this piece of shit movie.
Same. Fucking
me
same.
too.
We'll be live on Twitch and Mixer again. We got Restream sorted out. I didn't do anything. It just started working again when I tested it. So more Mass Effect 2. We are currently we're like knocking on the door of finishing up the Overlord DLC. Then we'll probably make it to like where if we were playing the Xbox version, we'd have to insert disc 2. But we don't have to worry about that. PC Master Race things. That'll be going on at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, just check out silences.com. Has link to all our social media and other platforms that we're on. Support the show by donating if you so choose. Link to that is in the description as always. And as always, until next time, be well, stay safe, and party like it's 1995.
Peace.
Bye-bye.